So we are back. I'm going to go to the first round, and like I said, we're going to do. You're not going to see my face. I'm just going to go straight to the sleeper and be talking over it. So hopefully we can do it. But yeah, man, there's a lot of candidates, right? Obviously, the first round is going to be very intriguing. So with that being said, let's just get into it, y'all. Let's get into it. All right. New intro win. There is not going to be a new intro, bro. No new intro. Not at least not right now. I got a lot of shit going on, man. I ain't got time to drop no bars, but new intro, man. Let's start off with the 101. Who do you guys think should be the 101? And when it comes to the first pick overall, like obviously Jamar Chase was the guy last year, right? So Jamar Chase is like, I think this is everybody's number one pick, probably almost a lock to be the number one pick. Had 315 fantasy points last year in PPR. The other options, I think, are Saquon and Bijan. Really, that's where it comes down to. Do you want upside with Bijan? You want the safety net that is Saquon Barkley? Or do you want the upside with Jamar Chase? Me personally, y'all know me. Me personally, I think Jamar Chase has a lot of weekly upside and he will have some down weeks. I'm very interested. And if you're new to this channel, sorry, and you want to turn it or unsubscribe, whatever it is, that's fine. We come with a different vantage point here, a different lens. I like Bijan here. And I think this is a little bit of a reach. If you have the number one pick, you're going to have to take him at a reach, but get who you want. Over the last final games that he had last season when Michael Penix was a starter, you see 94 yards, 2 touchdowns, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns, had 2 to 3 catches in each of those games. This is the Bijan that we've been waiting for. Once Michael Penix became the starter, this is the Bijan Robinson we've been waiting for. Multiple touchdowns, games with 5 targets, games where he's hitting 90 to 100 yards consistently. Bijan Robinson had a disappointing start to the season and still finishes the RB4 overall in fantasy. So for me, I like the upside, especially if we can get a lot of what we saw with the Michael Penix towards the end of the year where they're using him extensively in the red zone. Give me Bijan Robinson as my number one pick overall. You guys agree with that or no? Bijan Robinson, number one pick overall. We got Bijan, Barkley, JJ. I ain't mad at that. Tell Tyler to give me my money. You're going to see Tyler's face on here very soon, all right? Bijan number one all day. I'm with it, y'all. All right, next up. Now you have the option. You either go Jamar Chase, Saquon Barkley here. I'm not mad at either of these. I think you can find a lot of receivers later. But I think with the upside and even the trade value that Jamar Chase has, it's very tough to pass on Jamar Chase here. I like Justin Jefferson just as much here. I like CeeDee Lamb and I like Saquon Barkley here as well. Another player that I am very much considering in this spot is Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs had an incredible finish to the season last year. Incredible finish once David Montgomery got hurt. Ben Johnson is gone, so there's a little bit of a concern there. And obviously the page isn't loading for him right now. But Jahmyr Gibbs is also in consideration here, going way down in these standings. I'm going to go Jamar Chase here. You guys agree with that or no? Jamar Chase here. Next up, the third player. Now, Saquon had an incredible year, and you got between like Saquon, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, and for me, the other player is Jahmyr Gibbs. These are the players, one of those 4. I'm going to go with Saquon here, and I think Saquon is a risky pick, not for the fact that I think that he's not going to produce like last year. It's very tough for running backs to have back-to-back years where they do very similar type of production. Right? Number one, 2,000 yards rushing. Like coming off of those years, typically we see somewhat of a down year for running backs. And we had a very clean bill of health, a lot of long touchdowns for Saquon Barkley. He's 28 years old. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get banged up. I'm not banking on him getting hurt. I just want to tear him down a little bit, but I will take Saquon Barkley here at the number 2 spot. At the number 3 spot, excuse me. All right, number 4. Do you want to go receiver or do you want to go running back? That's what it comes down to here. And Jahmyr Gibbs with obviously a very high pass catching floor. You also have Justin Jefferson here, who I think Justin Jefferson's going to have a much better year than he did last year. CeeDee Lamb is also an option here. Who do you guys like in this spot? Let me know what you're thinking in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. Justin Jefferson, fresh off a year where I would consider it a disappointment for him, even though he had 1,500 yards. It was kind of a disappointing year for Jettis. Had 10 touchdowns, right? Obviously could have played a lot better. Sam Darnold was in the fold. But then we also had Jahmyr Gibbs, right? And I think those are the two I'm deciding between right here, Jahmyr Gibbs and Justin Jefferson. And I think what we saw out of Jahmyr Gibbs, he finishes the RB1 last year. That's the RB3. That's where he finished. I don't know why it says he finishes the RB1. He finishes the RB3 last year. And while I think Jahmyr Gibbs has a lot of upside you want to see, I'm kind of concerned about Ben Johnson leaving. And I'm also concerned about David Montgomery still being a bigger part of this offense. So for now, at the number 4 spot, I'm going to go Justin Jefferson. No, Jahmyr Gibbs is right there. And obviously at the next pick, I'm taking Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Jahmyr Gibbs has every opportunity to be the RB1. A lot of Jettas, a lot of JJ, a lot of Jettas. We got a couple Gibbs too. Gibbs, I'll take Gibbs. So I think that pick right there is very, you can go either way with that. And I think the number 6 pick to me is very easy. Like the locked in top 6 picks, CeeDee Lamb is up next. Obviously, George Pickens is now a Dallas Cowboy, but I think at this pick right here, you got to go with CeeDee Lamb, who's proven time and time that he can even be the wide receiver one in most instances. Got dealt with a little bit of injury last year. Dak was out. I think CeeDee Lamb is probably at a value here, and you're going to get some good value out of these picks. So to start off, Bijan Robinson, Jamar Chase, Saquon Barkley, Justin Jefferson, Jahmyr Gibbs, CeeDee Lamb. Here's where I think things get interesting because you have to kind of start either reaching on players you like, or it's about that time where, players are going to start falling. So the safe pick here would be Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I think you also need to start to look down because there's some names down here that fall that I think have a place up here, right? Like Derrick Henry was elite last year. Devon Achane has the upside. Tyreek Hill was in consideration for a top 3 pick last year. But I'm going to go to a floor player, and I'm going to take Amon-Ra St. Brown here. I don't think this is a sexy pick, nor do I guarantee that he's going to be here at this same range. But I think that St. Brown is just one of the safer players you can take. We know year over year he's going to have a very consistent role in this offense. He's been the number 7, number 3 player in wide receiver and PPR. So at the position, we know he's safe. He just doesn't offer a ton of upside. So I'd say that's the biggest thing. The biggest component for him is that you know what you're getting out of him. He don't have like 1,800-yard ceiling. Next up, I think a player that does have a higher ceiling here, and then I am considering the players I'm considering at this spot right here. Puka Nacua is a little high to me rankings wise, right? I know he on a PPR on a points per game basis, he was elite. Malik Neighbors is a name here that kind of is intriguing. Missed a couple games last year, still had 170 targets, 1,200 yards his rookie year, 7 touchdowns. Malik Neighbors is in consideration, right? Who else is in consideration for me? Brian Thomas has a lot of the upside, but now Travis Hunter is in the fold, okay? So he is also in consideration for me. I think this is just one of those cases where his ceiling might be a little bit limited with Travis Hunter. The last player I'm kind of thinking of at this spot, it comes down to one of these running backs, Derrick Henry or Devon Achane. And recently, more so than ever, I've been thinking that Devon Achane has an opportunity to really explode this year. I just think it still comes with the same risks that his size is obviously not ideal, but he's proven now he can play 11 games and 17 games in a season. He's proven that last year he could handle upwards of 15 to 20 carries if he needed to. I think Devon Achane has a lot of upside. But at this pick, I'm going to go with Malik Neighbors. And I think Malik Neighbors with a solid quarterback, not Daniel Jones and not Tommy DeVito. We're going to get solid quarterback play out of Russ, Jameis Winston, maybe even later in the year out of Jackson Dart. I think Malik Neighbors is worth the pick here. This is Malik Neighbors for me. Next up, like I said, to me, it's one of the running backs. And you could go Derrick Henry here, who was obviously elite last year. Elite. He finishes the RB2. A lot of it carried by 18 total touchdowns, 16 rushing, had almost 2,000 yards last year himself. But Derrick Henry, elite as they come. Obviously, doesn't catch as many passes as we like, only 19 catches. But I feel like Derrick Henry is definitely worth this consideration and probably has a much higher floor than a Devon Achane. So this is the big predicament for me is, do you take the floor with Derrick Henry? And I've been going back and forth on this. The floor of Derrick Henry or the potential excitement of what Devon Achane is. And I think for now, I'm going to stick with Derrick Henry. And this is a tough pick over some of the receivers that are up here. But I'm going to take Derrick Henry, knowing that I'm getting a nice solid floor. The workload, the production in the red zone is going to be Derrick Henry's the pick at number 9. Now, this is where it gets interesting. If you have Puka Nacua, Nico, Drake London, Brian Thomas, A.J. Brown, Devon Achane, I think Tyreek Hill, I think all these picks are absolute great picks right now. I don't think you can go wrong with any one of them. This is where it starts to become preference. And the good thing is you'll get multiple of these backs. I'm not multiple of these players, excuse me. And I haven't even mentioned down here, I want to say there's Christian McCaffrey's down here too. Right? In these rankings, he's down here. You're going to find a lot of talent. And where I think people will start to reach on the Bucky Irvings of the world, the Ashton Genties of the world, there's going to be some reaches in this territory. So be very careful. The most common player that everybody's going to say right here is Puka Nacua. If you're a fan of the J-Hen Fantasy Network and you're a fan of Justin Henry, you know I'm probably not going there, especially because I believe in Devontae Adams. So we're not going there, obviously. The 2 players I'm considering, Devon Achane, Brian Thomas. Those are the 2 I'm looking at right now, and I'm going to go with Devon Achane right now for the upside. I know I've been a hater, not a hater, so to speak, but yes, a hater on Devon Achane because of his size. Because of his size, I have said, you know what? I think because he's a risk, I don't want to take him. Raheem Mostert is gone. I know the team drafted Ollie Gordon, and I know that they have Jalen Wright, who was a factor that they wanted to be a factor last year. He wasn't. Devon Achane's going to get all he can handle this year, and my excitement for him is what we saw out of the passing game for him last year. If he gets any more receiving work than he did last year, which was 78 catches, he's going to be a smash. And if he can get to 1,000 to 1,200 yards, they use him in the red zone more. Devon Achane, for me, has a lot of upside, Chris Johnson-esque type upside. So I like Devon Achane this year more than I have in the past. He's proven he can stay durable. 17 games he played last year. I'm okay with Achane in this spot. How you guys liking this first round so far? How y'all liking it? Wouldn't take a risk with CMC right there. You know what? CMC is a little bit further down than I want right now. I don't have CMC as high. I would like CMC in the second round, not the first round. I've been more worried about Johnson than Monty. Johnson. Who are we talking about there? That's when we were talking about Johnson and Monty. I can't remember. Oh, Ben Johnson. Yeah, Ben Johnson leaving. You're right. It's with Ben Johnson gone, that is going to change things for Sam Brown a little bit, but Puka, Nico, Puka, Nacua is better than Devontae. I agree with that, but they're closer. I have them pretty close right now. Where do you prefer to pick in the draft? Middle, front, back end? I kind of like picking at the top of the draft this year. Normally, I don't care, but I think top of the draft this year, there's just a little bit more stud power than there was in recent years. All right, at the 11th pick, this is where you get into Puka Nacua, Nico Collins, Drake London, Brian Thomas land, A.J. Brown land. All these receivers, Tyreek Hill, they're all kind of the same to me. Puka, Nico, Drake London, Brian Thomas, A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill. They all have similar type of upside, 1,500-yard upside, and I think they all have 10 touchdown upside. Now, the question is, which one is – and they all have good quarterback play, right? You got C.J. Stroud, you got Stafford, you got Michael Penix, who looked the part, Trevor Lawrence, who should be better this year, Jalen Hurts, Tua. So you're going to get volume out of all these receivers. It's do you believe in them or not? That's where this receiving core is. Who do you believe in and who do you think has the most upside? And for me, I kind of think that Nico has a really nice role this year. Stephon Diggs is out, but he kind of concerned me last year. Coming off of his injury, we saw Nico play really well early on. Coming off the injury, he only had 100-yard game. Now, I know that's not a problem for most people, but for me, that's kind of an issue. Like, I think that Nico had a really strong year the year before, and we were saying, hey, look, he's going to be the guy. I have a little bit of a concern putting Nico up here just yet. I do. I don't want to take Nico as a first-round guy. Somebody else will take him as a first-round guy. I don't have him there. Puka or Brian Thomas, and I really liked what Brian Thomas did last year, even with Travis Hunter, 87 catches. The touchdowns are there. The yardage is there. I like Brian Thomas in this spot more than I like Puka Nacua. I'm going to take Brian Thomas here, purely for the upside. Well, Travis Hunter is there now. I'm taking the upside with Brian Thomas here in this spot. The last pick's probably going to piss y'all off because I am going to fade the more popular names up here: Puka Nacua, Nico Collins, Drake London. And I'm going to go with the player who, A.J. Brown, obviously did not. He missed a little bit of time early on, but I think it's easy to forget who A.J. Brown is as a player and what he means for this offense. He's typically a top 5 to 6 receiver, even with Devontae Smith here both of these years. And I know the team got Saquon Barkley, but even down the stretch, A.J. Brown is elite. And he still has a very valid role for this team. So as the 7th receiver off the board, maybe some provide a little bit more upside. This is a floor pick, and I have A.J. Brown here at my 12th spot. You guys hate it so far or love it? You guys hate it so far or love it? So that's the first round. I'm going to do, you guys are getting a little YouTube video right now too. I'm about to do a little TikTok video. I'm about to do a quick recap of these 4 rounds. You guys will see it coming up. All right. So here's how I drafted. Hold on a second before I hear how I drafted. Here's how the first round of the fantasy draft should go. With your first pick, you should take Bijan Robinson. Provides so much upside at your number 1 pick. Had a strong connection with Michael Penix down the stretch, scoring in 2 touchdowns in 3 consecutive games to end the season. Yes, I got him over the next pick that I have. The second pick, Jamar Chase should be off the board, and obviously the top scorer in fantasy at the receiver position. Jamar Chase has a lot of upside, but I think we're forgetting about some of the things he didn't do well in the past, and that's one of them is stay healthy. Number 3, we got Saquon Barkley. I have some slight concerns about Saquon Barkley, and it's more so injury risk or being able to repeat the RB1 season. If he stays healthy, I think we're going to see Saquon Barkley yet again here at the top running back spot. At the 4th spot, Justin Jefferson deserves this. Listen, he had 1,500 yards last year with Sam Darnold. In comes J.J. McCarthy, and I think that's the only reason he's pushed down this far. If he's able to stay healthy and have a good season, Justin Jefferson should clear 1,500 yards yet again and be effective in his role. At the 5th spot, we got Jahmyr Gibbs, who provides a nice stable floor depending on this Ben Johnson-less offense now the Lions have. Jahmyr Gibbs finished as a top 3 running back last season. I think he's a good bet to do that again and potentially be the RB1. CeeDee Lamb is next off the board here at the 6th pick. And look, CeeDee Lamb is elite as they come. The team did add George Pickens there in the offseason, but CeeDee Lamb is a target hog and should be George Pickens proof. Dak is back healthy. CeeDee Lamb could be the wide receiver 1 this season. Amon-Ra St. Brown is next off the board, and this is just a very nice floor play. 1,500 yards, easy every single year. And the same question that's with Jahmyr Gibbs. Can this offense be the same without Ben Johnson? I'm betting on St. Brown still being a 1,500-yard guy. Next off the board is Malik Neighbors, who led all receivers in targets, all rookie receivers in targets last year. I think Malik Neighbors with Russell Wilson should be much better here in year 2 and has a chance to be a top 3 guy when it's all said and done. At the 9th pick, Derrick Henry had almost 2,000 yards last year, and we saw him be used extensively in the red zone. I think he repeats that, and while he doesn't have, maybe the pass-catching chops that some of these other players do, Derrick Henry has one of the nicest floors at the running back position. At the 10th spot, Devon Achane carries so much upside, and yes, it's with the pass-catching floor that we love to see. Was second in the league in catches for running backs last year with 78, and has a ton of upside. I mean, this guy could have 1,500 yards rushing with another 1,000 yards catching. I don't think that would surprise anybody if he had a mega season. Devon Achane, highest upside here in the first round. At the 11th pick, Brian Thomas. And I know a lot of people are concerned about Travis Hunter's role in this offense, but I think Brian Thomas provides the upside and touchdown capability that you want to see. I think there's going to be a role with both of these guys under Liam Cohen. We saw it with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin last year. Brian Thomas, a lot of upside in the Jacksonville offense, especially if Trevor Lawrence can be better. And then the last pick in this first round, 12th pick, A.J. Brown. You're going to hate it, but A.J. Brown has consistently through and through been a top 5 to 7 receiver, and getting him off the board is one of the most reliable players in this spot. I know over some other players like Puka Nacua, Drake London, who do have changes in their scenery since we've seen them last on the field, as far as their offenses and who they have, new quarterbacks, new receivers there. A.J. Brown, consistent as they come. What do you guys think about the first round? All right, so that was a little TikTok there for you guys. You guys got to see it. You guys are okay with it? Okay with it? Let's get to the second round. Now. I can see Gibbs around 1,200, 1,500 yards. I can see that. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. You like Garrett Wilson more than Breece Hall? I don't know about that. I like Breece Hall a lot. I like Breece Hall a lot. All right.